Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is General-Segolodi. I am the author of the book titled Pro-Mortalism. It is an in-depth study of existential antinatalism and existential pro-mortalism. As some of you may or may not yet know, we have lost another one. Another one has left us. We have lost another fellow antinatalist and pro-mortalist. Not too long ago, another one has decided to take matters into their own hands and has self-deleted, shall we say. His name was Brandt Gill. He ran two channels, one by the name of Brandt Gill, and the other one was called Apostle O Ultron. Now, as far as I know, this is the third person. There may be more. There's probably more that I don't know about. But in recent months, this is the third antinatalist, pro-mortalist to do so. The other two that come to mind, there was someone named Danny, forget his last name. It's from the channel called The Right to Die. And then of course there was Ethel Blaze. All three of them were vocal antinatalists and pro-mortalists. Of course, I'm sure we can all agree that they were antinatalists, but I think perhaps some people might disagree with the claim that they were pro-mortal, but you don't have to look no further than, the kind of content that they produced. If we look, for example, at Danny, I think maybe his name was Daniel, his channel, The Right to Die, I talked about it in a previous video about how euthanasia is pro-mortalism, right? Arguing that people should have the right to a peaceful exit is a pro-mortalist position, not an antinatalist one. Of course, with Ethel Blaze, he was explicitly pro-mortalist. He described himself as both. I mean, he described himself with all labels: antinatalist, Ethelist, pro-mortalist. He was actually, explicit about it. With Brandt, it's a similar case with Ethel Blaze. If you go to his Facebook page, his bio literally just says Ethelist. And if you go to his other channel, like I said, he had two channels. He didn't upload any videos on the Brandt Gill channel, but he uploaded to the Apostle Ultron channel, and in the channel description he doesn't mention anything about pro-mortalism, but of course in his live streams some of them were about the word pro-mortalism or pro-mortalist did appear in the title of the videos. So he too was explicitly pro-mortalist. Now, Brandt, in fact, once subscribed to my channel. I don't know when, but at some point he later unsubscribed. I don't know why. I'm guessing perhaps I had uploaded a bunch of newer videos that maybe he didn't quite agree with. But nonetheless, the fact that he was once a subscriber shows that there are things that I talked about that he did agree with, that did resonate with him. And so that is much appreciated. Now, as the title of this video suggests, I just wanted to talk about how, we should not be sad, we should rejoice. You see, when Ethel Blaze left and Danny left as well, There was an outpouring of condolences. People were very sad. But I don't, and of course, generally, when any kind of beloved member of the community, our little community, is no longer with us, there is always a great deal of grief. However, I don't think it should be this way. I think that if you feel, sad, if you mourn the loss, I feel like you're kind of missing the point. As I have already pointed out, the three aforementioned individuals were staunch, devout pro-mortalists. They were pro-mortalists till the very end. So they were committed to their beliefs. This is what they wanted, right? And so we should look up to them. They should be revered. They are heroes. They deserve the highest honors. The president should give each one of them the Medal of Honor. Each one of them should serve as a role model for every one of us. We should continue the legacy of our fallen fellow soldiers, comrades, brothers and sisters. And we can only do this by continuing their work. And we should keep spreading the good message, the good word, the good news, the holiest and most sacred knowledge, the gospel, the new gospel of antinatalism and pro-mortalism. They were carrying the torch of fire that provides light in the darkness of night as they light up the path that leads us to our final destination. They couldn't keep going. They were completely exhausted. They collapsed to the ground. But it is our job as those who are being shown the way to pick up the torch and to keep moving forward. This is what it means to be a pro-mortalist. This is what pro-mortalism is about. Brandt, in his last live stream, you could tell he was very depressed. You should go see it. It was a question and answer type of live stream, but nobody showed up. In fact, generally, every now and then I used to check up on his channel, and he did a lot of live streams that very few people ever watched. So this one was no different, and he was just quiet throughout the whole video, and you could see his eyes. You could see he was in a lot of pain. He had had enough, but now that's gone. That feeling of overwhelming sadness and hurt and pain. Guess what? It's all gone now. Now it's just peace. It's just bliss. So this is what pro-mortalism is about. Alright? And so for this reason, we should rejoice. We should be ecstatic. We should be jumping around and dancing and rolling on the dance floor. We should be popping champagne bottles and throwing a huge party, huge celebration, because there's nothing to be upset about, quite frankly. All right. And those who are pro-life are selfish. Anybody who cries about someone who has exited, what you'll notice is that they talk about themselves. They're like, oh, I am going to miss them, and who am I going to hang out with? It's I, me. Just like with parents, right? When they have a child, it's never in the best interest of the hypothetical future child. It's all about the parent, and I want to have a child, and I need someone to run my business when I'm not around, and I want someone to carry on my legacy, and I want somebody to love me and somebody to keep me company. It's always about themselves, right? So This is a time for celebration, like I've already stated. I will personally not be offering my condolences to anybody, much less the parents of these kinds of victims, because after all, the parents are, in a way, they are the ones responsible for this, right? As I pointed out in my book, everything is predetermined, and so when it comes to any kind of criminal activity or any kind of devastating, terrible thing that happens, if you want to find those who are responsible, determinism can guide us and show us who is responsible. And parents are responsible for everything. They are the biggest culprits, right? All criminals had parents, right? All victims of crimes had parents, and so it's no different even in this situation. Why should we provide our condolences to the parents of a child who has self-exited when these parents are the ones responsible for creating this child? You cannot self-exit if you don't even exist in the first place, right? The parents created the child, thereby now making this possible. They have made it possible for the child to do this to themselves. So, it's kind of ridiculous to offer them any kind of sympathy when they are literally responsible for this. They are the architects of their own misfortune. So, upon listening to all of this, you might be thinking to yourself, well, General, you are also a antinatalist and pro-mortalist. If you also feel such a strong conviction about your own ideas, why have you not put them into practice? Why are you still with us? And that is a question I get asked very often. Usually it tends to be asked by people who cannot debunk my philosophy, right, of existential antinatalism, existential promotalism. It's very common that someone will ask, well, why are you still here? And that's the only thing they ever say. They can't refute my arguments. This is like the default way to run away from the debate, basically. And of course, as you know, I've already addressed this in the past, that first of all, if someone is hypocritical, if they do not practice what they preach, that doesn't mean that what they preach is false. A doctor could tell you that smoking is bad, and he himself, he could be a smoker, but you would be very foolish to suggest that because he is a hypocrite and he smokes, well, that is clear evidence that smoking is not harmful. That would be very silly. It doesn't matter if he's a hypocrite. That has no effect on the validity of his claims. So it's like I said, usually the whole "why are you still here" rhetoric, it mostly comes from people who don't know what to say. They simply crumble under the weight of my intellectual superiority. They have no clue about how to counter any of my arguments, and of course, my arguments are flawless. And so, rather than any kind of serious critique, this is, unfortunately for them, thanks to their very simple minds, the best that they can come up with. Well, first of all, as I always say, there is no morality. So because there is no morality, as you know, morality is the study of ought claims. Now, because there is no morality, that means that all ought statements are false. Any claim that you ought to do X, Y, Z, or you ought not to do X, Y, Z is false, right? So the claim that these people make is that I ought to follow my own pro-mortalist teachings. But of course, that's false. That's an odd statement. You're saying, and all odd statements are false. So actually, that's not true. I don't have to do anything. I can choose to follow my own beliefs, but it is incorrect to say that I have to. There's no choice in the matter. I have to practice what I preach. But also, there's another reason. I actually still have things to do, I would still like to share some of my insights, some of my ideas. I think I have valuable contributions to make in this discussion to these philosophies. So, it's pretty hard to make contributions of any sort when you are dead, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's all there is to it, really. But anyway, to conclude the video, as you know, when someone passes away, a very common phrase that you'll hear is rest in peace, right? R.I.P. We always say the person should rest in peace, and I can't help but agree, because yes, death is peace indeed. And if all life goes extinct, then only then will the world finally have achieved world peace. We'll only have world peace when there's no one around, when the planet is just an empty rock like other planets, like Mars, like Jupiter, the other planets in our solar system, like our moon. And it's just a quiet, everything is just quiet. There's no nonsense, no noise, no rubbish, no wars, no politics, no drama of any kind. Only then will we have peace. So rest in peace, Brandt Gill. Rest in peace. And so that marks the end of the video. Thank you for watching.